Why TBC? What's the deal? Now, my personal opinion is if Arnold Gjergjaj is going to ever get a title shot at one of the heavyweight titles, it's going to have to be probably sooner than later. Um, I've been doing some research of him. He's not a bad fighter. He's out of Switzerland. Uh, 31 years old. He's about 6'6". I've seen the fight with Denis Bakhtov. I've seen the fight with a guy named Pedura. I've seen the fight with Ednan Rodzavic, Tibor Balog, and I've seen the fight against Nelson Dominguez and another guy. I've got the guy's Gilbert Domingo. So I've seen about 8 or 9 of his fights. He's 29-0 with 21 knockouts. Haven't seen all of his fights, and I know there's a few more that are on YouTube for me to watch, but I watched about 9 of them so far, and I like what I see. I see he's not ranked by any of the sanctioning bodies, the WBA, BC, BO, or IBF. I looked on BoxRec. He is rated number 29, and just to give you a feel for his positioning, at 28 you have Gerald Washington, 27 Aliander Solis, and then at 30 you have Andy Ruiz Jr., and 31 Robert Helenius, who will be fighting France Real tomorrow. Wanted to see Helenius versus Erkin Tepper, but Arnold Gjergjaj. I've seen him, switch from righty to lefty. He has decent hand speed, decent pop. Some of his fights, he looks in shape and he looks lean. Then there's some fights he looks kind of flabby, like his last fight against Marino Goles. That's a fight I seen too, and Prince Anthony Aikiji. I wrote these names down, man, so it's kind of my first time saying these names, but I watched all these fights. The Marino Goles fights like that, I don't want to see him in no more of those fights. That was a comical, it was a comical stoppage, man. Goles went back. It's the first round. Within the first 30 seconds of the fight, Gjergjaj throws a right hand, hits the high glove. The dude goes down. His corner throws in the towel. Another fight that was pretty funny watching it. Nelson Dominguez. That fight was funny as hell. Gjergjaj hit him with a shot that kind of glanced off his shoulder. Now, this is before he was getting his ass whooped, but shot kind of glanced off his shoulder. The dude went down, protesting that his side was hit. He was hitting he was hit low or something. He's trying to complain to the referee as he's being counted out. The ref gets to 10. Dominguez jumps up like, "Hey, you counted me out." It was just weird, man. You could tell these guys don't want to be in there with him. Now, I know Gjergjaj just probably needs some work, trying to build his, get his resume up. But those type of fights, they're not going to prove anything. It's one thing to get in there with a guy like Denis Bakhtov, who just got, destroyed by Anthony Joshua. But Bakhtov is a decent fighter. At least he's there to fight. I've seen him in there with Danny Williams. He won that fight against Williams. He was there to fight. Much smaller than Danny Williams, but he was there to fight. He may be a journeyman and he's lost, but he's there to fight. These guys like Dominguez and Domingo, those type of guys, they're not even there to fight, man. They're cowering. You could tell they're like wincing their eyes before they get hit, like they're scared to get hit. And they're not even fighting back. They're just putting up a high guard and praying that they don't get hit too hard while they find a soft spot on the canvas to lay down. I don't want to see him in there with guys like that. The Denis Bakhtov fight, I thought that was a good win. Ednan Rodzavic, I didn't know too much about him until I looked at his career. I seen he fought Timas Marazic. For 38 years old, he looked like he was about 47. You watch that fight, man, he also has all types of gray hairs in his beard. He looked at old as fuck. And then I looked up his career, seen he was an undefeated guy, but man, he looked at very old. He fought Gjergjaj for a minor European title, and he got knocked out in the 9th round. That fight is on YouTube. I want to see more Gjergjaj, I would like to see him step up and get a fight. Fight somebody, man. The American guys over here, they're all fighting each other. Gerald Washington and, Mansour and Martin. They're all getting in there. I like to see Gjergjaj in there with a Joey Daweko. Somebody come stateside. He's very popular in Switzerland. You go watch those fights. The venues that he's in, they're like cheering his name. They are cheering his name, man. It's like he's selling out those little venues, and they like him over there. Now that he has that little regional title, that EBU title. I think he had it for his last like 3 or 4 fights, but they love him over there. But his weight fluctuates. You know, he's anywhere between 230 and 250. You know, like his last fight, he looked at kind of flabby. The film on YouTube wasn't HD, but from what I seen, he looked at flabby. I looked on BoxRec, he weighed in at 244. And then the fight against Tibor Balog, when he came in at 231, he actually looks pretty fucking fast, man. He actually looks, for a guy that's 6'6", 6'7", he looks pretty fast, solid, and powerful. He looked at, you know, like a formidable contender. You know, but the fight with Prince Anthony Akiji, that fight he landed a leaping left hook. He looked good in that fight. The Pereira, that fight with that guy, that dude came in. See, now he's a guy you never heard of, journeyman type guy, but he came to fight. He went in that fight swinging. They got into a fight, and Gjergjaj handled his business, but that dude came to fight. So he's been in there with guys that at least have come to fight, even though they're, you know, they're not household names and they're journeymen, but at least they're, at very least, they're journeymen that want to fight. So he's been in there with some guys that don't want to fight and some guys that want to fight. And I want to see him step up, fight somebody, you know, of better competition. I mean, Matias Vadando, somebody, you know, somebody. I just want to see him step up. Manuel Quezada, Fred Cassie. You know, I just want to see him step up and fight somebody. Come stateside, man. But he's not rated by any of the sanctioning bodies, which is kind of weird to me, you know, because I see Charles Martin is getting a shot, and he was in the 40s last time I checked, and he's getting a title shot. And Gjergjaj is rated way higher than him, according to BoxRec. But shit, you know, Amir Mansour, that'd be a good fight. The dude will make for an entertaining fight. You know, he's not a household name. A lot of guys know who he is, but he would make for an entertaining fight. Him and Amir Mansour would be a nice fight. Mansour wouldn't have to worry about finding his opponent because he would be right there in front of him. But I want to see more Gjergjaj. I want to see him come to the States, and me being a American fan, I'm probably biased by saying that, but I like to see all these guys come to the States because this is where the money's at. You know, this is where I think the heavyweight division is going to start to drift back towards the States a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to be a full takeover, you know, Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury is willing to let his belts go, and if he's willing to let his belts go, and you know, there's a good crop of American fighters out there that I want to see fight some of the European guys, and let's start mixing it up. Some guys come over here, some of our guys go over there. Let's start mixing it up. So Gjergjaj, get somebody to Switzerland or travel, man. Come to America. YTBC. I'm out.